And they asked the question, instead of getting on their cell phone and texting someone or posting, they actually sat there
Mm-hmm.
and they actually said, let me answer the question.
Yeah.
Let me get uncomfortable here. And what is it that I truly want? What would I have to change about myself to be healthy, to be happy, to be well successful? What are my bad habits?
Mm-hmm.
They get busy writing down all the choices they want to make, all the things they want to do. They start writing down all their goals, all their experiences, and every goal or experience they write down in their future, there's an emotion. They get inspired, they get optimistic, they get grateful, they get energized, and those emotions fuel more thoughts. And now they're actually changing their biology. And then they do something really, 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 really important. They start looking at the thoughts that they no longer want to think. They write them down. I can't. It's too hard. I'll start tomorrow. I don't feel good. They start looking at the choices they're going to have to stop making. And when they understand when they stop making those choices, it's going to be uncomfortable. That's the hardest part about change. They start thinking about the things they have to stop doing. I got to get off the couch. I got to stop watching this. I got to stop overeating, whatever it is. And then we've all done this. And there comes a moment where you start noticing that, like, you start saying, hey, I believe this is actually going to happen, right?
Yeah.
And that's when you take the foot off the gas pedal and you start really realizing, wow, I was the resource of actually making this happen. And I changed.
Yeah.
I changed in the process. So the exciting part about it, you talk to people who created wealth, you talk to people who created relationships, you talk to people who have created health. They'll tell you my disease, my poverty was my greatest teacher. My past was my greatest teacher. They look back at their past, and now there's no longer an emotion associated with it. The memory without the emotional charge is wisdom. Now you get to go to the future. You get to create whatever you're free-willed. You could be anybody you want to be in the process, right?
The memory without the emotional charge. That's how you erase its impact on you from the past. I want to ask you something about that. I've always wanted to ask you this. And by the way, Joe and I, we've flown on my plane together. There's all these times I wanted to ask you this question. And I wondered, because I have created some things in matter in the material world that maybe now I'm at this place where it's dawned on me all along. My fear is that I think sometimes if I think the way I'm about to ask you about, maybe I wouldn't have created any of the material things, which I know is flawed thinking. And it's this. It's that this idea that you can get to this heighted, gamma wave brain state, and you're just fully intentional, right? Having an intention at that time. We have a culture that's been taught for years and years and years to get really clear intention about the physical matter things we want. I want $1 million in the bank. I want a private jet. I want to weigh 150 pounds. But the truth is, we really don't want those things. We want the emotion we think those things will give us. Wouldn't it be smarter for people to get, and very few people ever do, to get clear about the emotions they wish to experience on a regular basis and not the physical matter things?
Well, that's exactly the point. That's exactly the point. And look, people can create all kinds of wealth, Ed. They can create all kinds of abundance. They can have the cars, the homes, and everything. But if they can't be present to enjoy them, I've sat with billionaires and they've looked me in the eye and said, we're all miserable.
Same here.
We're all miserable. And so then at what point do you have to wait to change? Does it have to be that lowest point? Or can you learn and change in a state of joy and inspiration instead of pain and suffering? And that becomes the art, right? So then to change then is to be greater than the habituations, the drives, and the emotions that have been conditioned in the body. To change is to be greater than the conditions in our environment, that every person, every object, everything in our life has a neurological network associated with them. They're knowns because we've experienced them, and we have an emotion associated with them. So if you're not being defined by a vision of the future, you're left with the memories of the past, and you see your ex, and you're going to see your ex through the memory of your past neurologically, and that's going to elicit an emotional response. And you're thinking and feeling equal to your environment. Your life's not going to change. So then the next question is, how could I overcome that condition that with my ex? Can I actually forgive? Could I actually open my heart? Can I actually... The reason we do this is because the stronger the emotion we feel towards someone or something in our life, the more we pay attention to them. And where we place our attention is where we place our energy. And so then we're giving our power away to that person or circumstance. That's vital life force you could use to change. The person who's sitting in the meditation and they want to quit, this is they're thinking they're doing their meditation wrong. I want to tell you, you're doing it right. That's the defining moment, right? And you lower the volume to that emotion, I guarantee you'll take your attention off that person. And sooner or later, when the body finally settles down and you get beyond it, you're going to take your power back. And that's building your own electromagnetic field. Now you have energy to heal. Now you have energy to create. We measured this. Now you have energy for creation, right? So you see this incredible dance that goes on now because we've built the technology between the heart and the brain. So then when the brain and the heart are coherent, my goodness, there's a feeling, well, you can call it the zone or whatever you want to call it, where just you feel like you have enough time to get things done, and no person, no circumstance is going to break you from your state, right? That zone or whatever you want to call that is actually teachable. So do you have to reach gamma to do that? No.
Okay.
We're just knowing that the people that hit gamma, they had an instantaneous biological upgrade. There's the eczema, 37 years of eczema. The next day, it's gone. Back to your original question. We have great evidence in testimony, and we have great evidence in our scientific studies. And evidence is the loudest voice. And you can't tell me you're too old to do this. You can't tell me you're too sick to do this. I've seen people with 50 brain tumors that were emaciated, couldn't walk, couldn't speak, on the stage, talking in front of an audience. Can't tell me you're too sick to do this. Now, you examine that person, who comes to the event, and there's no hope. You have 3 months to live, you have 6 months to live, and they're not accepting that or believing that or surrendering to that. They're actually saying there's got to be some other way. There's got to be some other way. If I created this, is it possible that I can uncreate it? So then the person who's on the stage telling that story, and it may have taken them 18 months, but they never missed a day. Why is that essential? Because there were days where they felt so bad in their body, so sick that they didn't feel like doing their meditation, but they did it anyway. There were days they had so much doubt because their condition was actually worsening, and they could have succumbed to their doubt, but they did their meditation anyway. There were days that they were in such incredible fear because the doctor told them it was 3 months and it would be over, and it was the 3-month period, and